Well, this is supposed to be the Good Not News Wednesday show. And for Christians the world over, the good news is that a good guy, Charlie Kirk, is going to be with Jesus later tonight, or right now, I guess. Um, for the rest of us, it's really kind of hard to think of this as a good news day. I know, Brian, you were a fan of Charlie Kirk. He was amazing to watch. What were you were the first one to alert me that the situation was developing. What were your
Mhm.
thoughts today as we watched this horrible event?
Yeah, this is very tragic, horrible thing to have happen. He was only 31 years old, but amazing guy in media. In terms of you know YouTube, in terms of handling crowds, he was just a amazing, unique voice. He also gotten to be pretty powerful politically by he speaks to the young people as well as he reaches across the aisle to try and hear all people's side to trying to get that discussion going. So he was trying to people. Some people who don't understand him would think that he was trying to be on the right or something like that. He does have conservative right values, but he was trying to have discussions where it's like, you know, if you could convince him and be better at your debate or your discussion, then he'd be open to that idea. So it was, he was, I think, in many ways trying to build bridges. He was closely aligned to President Trump, which again, some people on the other side would count at the negative. But I think the most people in the middle, 80% in the middle, 9% in the middle, would want people to reach across. There's no reason, that most of us share um, good and common values and decency. So a bad way that way.
Lots and lots of comments from Elon Musk, from President Trump, from Vice President Vance, all of them expressing their condolences, requesting prayer for the family. Also announcing the flags will be at half staff until Sunday.
Mhm.
And I made only one post about this on the media, and yes, it was a political post, but it is something that I've posted before, and I just felt I needed to say it again. Starting last fall, when the president was first shot, um, there was no voices from the left in condemnation. I mean, zero. I kept looking for it. I kept trying to find one voice. I could say, hey, here's one person.
Mhm.
And then when there was the second assassination attempt, there was no voices. And then when there was situations in the street by you know Antifa and other groups, there's just never a voice that says, you guys need to stop this. Even if it was to say you need to stop it because it's not helping the
Your
cause
side.
on the left, is not helping us look like somebody that anybody wants to be around.
Mhm.
And even today, MSNBC making sad statements about Charlie Kirk in terms of how divisive he was, and one person saying that he brought it on himself because he was
Mhm.
such a uh, you know such a hater.
Yeah.
Not shocking that he would
Yeah.
somebody would take him out. I mean, this is just
Yeah.
it's such insanity. So I'm just calling on the left now. Today, you did see across all of the left coming out and saying, pray for him, pray for his family. On the left saying, we've got to stop this political violence. So I don't know what it was about this particular event that caused them to finally want to say that. Maybe it's what you were talking about, that Charlie was seen as a very kind, a very nice man, a family man, two young kids, and that he wasn't really divisive. He was trying to just make his points and let other people try to make theirs.
I think also it's just so clearly over the line that you could shoot media people. So one, that would mean if you're saying it's okay to do that, then you're saying if you're leftist media, right? Then you're saying come and get me too on the other side. So
Yeah.
a self-preservation thing would say that. But to give them credit, it's to say, okay, it's over the line. It's way no way we should stop it. They don't have Charlie Cook derangement syndrome, right? It's not like Trump or Elon where
Right,
they
right.
weren't committed to that. It's not like saying, you know, 80 million people who voted the other side, they're all should be shot. No, most of them, the vast majority, 99.9%, would not be that far. Although there's loud, crazy voices who say that. But now, you know, Bernie Sanders, Gavin Newsom, anyone who's in any way rational would say this is so clearly wrong.
Yeah.
And they've said that so it's so clearly wrong. Yeah.
So the other thought that came to your mind, because we're so heavily wrapped up in this whole Elon Musk world, is that he has had many threats on his life.
Hmm.
And I saw a couple of other people posting on this that Elon, if you already have 15 people in your security force, could you just double it? I mean, you're worth 400 billion. You can afford it. 15 is not enough. 30, 45. I mean, get as many as you need to make sure you're safe.
I think it's basically that you have to go to that celebrities, if they can afford it, need to go to Pope and presidential levels of Secret Service security. That you have to have, like if this was taken, probably a shot from 200 yards, the rifle, that kind of thing. Then you have to assume that's the level of attack you may get. So I think he has security, but not to that level. And then the Pope mobile, where you have, the bulletproof thing. That basically you have to assume that there could be people willing to do that 200, 400-yard shot. That you have to then step up the precautions against that. And it may involve drone and automation technology to make it affordable. That not everyone can afford a Secret Service detail of 50 people, pre-scouting areas.
Sure,
Elon can.
sure. Yeah.
Your point, Elon can. But,
Right.
automating with drones might be the way to do it.
Okay, so I thought long and hard about what to do with regard to this show. When I say long and hard, for like, an hour and a half after we knew that Charlie had passed. And I decided that based on my friends who are Christians, he wouldn't have wanted the world to stop. He wouldn't have wanted people to stop commerce or to shut down activity, even for a day, on his behalf. His wife and family and the people that are closest to him, they'll have their time of mourning. We will have our own kind of mourning because he was like you could almost it was like Elon. I almost feel like I know him. He's just that kind of guy, and Charlie was the same way. You just kind of felt like you knew him. But we are going to go ahead. We're going to talk about what happened today in the markets, and we're going to talk about what we think is going to happen tomorrow, etc. And I hope that that's okay with you all because that's what we're going to do. It's whether it's okay or not, that is what we're going to do. We're going to move along. Okay, so Brian, market today was bizarre. Well, okay, so I thought that the PPI beat would have caused the market to be a little more excited than it was. I thought that the fact that the bonds had a nice rally, we're almost back, we're almost down to the threes in the 10-year. I thought that would have helped, create more of a rally in the equities. But I wasn't terribly surprised that maybe they're waiting for the CPI tomorrow to kind of make sure. But then we've got Tesla, which went up 6 or 7, or I forget, two. It was flirting with 355, 356 all day long, and then it went, it all went to heck. It
Mhm.
all went away at the end. But I couldn't, and I think I know why it went up, but I couldn't find any reason why it came back down. So what did you see? Did you see anything I missed?
Well, again, it's just hitting on the door of that 355, technical top level. So basically,
Okay.
there's a bunch of sellers there, people who, and all institutional, private retail as well, that for some reason, keep thinking that they want to get out at 355. They're
Okay.
not comfortable going above it. So, and then we've been in that wedge formation of like higher lows, but hitting the same top. So it's a squeeze, and then it will go either to up or down. It can go up or down once you break out, but I'm thinking it's going to go up. So, but then if we say I'm a bull, blah blah blah, it can go up. But I think there's a lot of too much good news coming for it to go down. If it did down, it'd be again. I expect it again turn around up quickly because FSD 14, the October 2nd
number.
volume numbers, even the next week's China numbers, growing numbers of YLs. There's a bunch of things I think are clearly constant positive news.
Yeah, so today we did have surprising news. It wasn't totally surprising because we've been kind of expecting good news out of China because we've been hearing that the YL had 120,000 vehicles sold already and 10,000 a day, somebody was saying, new orders coming in. But it was it's one of those ones where you're like, okay, is that really the truth? Is it really, are we getting it from the right sources? But then we got from reliable sources, because you can go on the website and see it, is that the Model Y across the board, the Model Y in China is sold out through October. So the new
Into
orders,
November. Yeah.
I mean, sorry, through October into November. And so new orders being placed today will not be filled until November.
Mhm.
And as you and I were talking earlier today, that says to me pretty much that factory sold out till the end of the year because
Right.
over the next 6 weeks, they're definitely going to fill out, they're definitely going to sell out the last 6 weeks.
Right.
So that seemed to me to be the stimulus. I think that's what kicked it
I
off.
agree. Yeah.
Okay. So you had some thoughts though about the numbers in China in terms of that not quite adding up, the 120,000, the
Yeah.
10,000 a day. Anyway, tell us your thinking.
Well, you know, m- even at my most super optimistic of like how many YLs could they make, I don't think they can make more than 10,000 a week, and they would take them, a month or two to get to that level, right? So, if you have like 900 this last week, a great number would be 3,000 this coming week, 4,000, and then get to 5,000, 6,000. Um, you know, if the last week of September could be, 6,000, that'd be like, I think, wonderful. So then in October, if I could do 8,000, 10,000 per week, right? That would again be a great number. And then say 2 weeks of that. So even at my most optimistic, I could imagine that scenario. Then you're looking at 60, 70,000 total to get your orders into mid-November,
November.
right?
Yeah. Right.
So that would be, and then even more likely might be only 6,000 at your run rate
Yeah.
time frame. But that would be more like 40. So my thing is like 40,000 to 70,000 is how many YLs I think they have ordered.
Okay. So you're saying basically saying you think the 120,000 was nonsense, and that it was maybe half of that, because otherwise, how could they make them in time? Yeah. Yeah.
Right, right.
Okay. Well, that's fair. That's fair.
Unless you go an extra couple weeks, like if saying somehow it's like 100,000 max, and maybe if my wildest dreams come true and I could do 12,000 a week, right?
Right. Right. Right.
Then it's like, okay, then maybe you just got there. That
Yeah,
could
yeah.
be
So, but that 12,000 a week would be 48,000, and the
in a
max is
month. Yeah,
30,000 a month or more, 50,000 or more a month, and that would
yeah,
be half of the best month they've ever had, which I think was right around
right.
100. Was it right around 100,000 or was it right around 89? I think it was
Just
around,
shy of 100,000, I think.
yeah, just shy of 100,000. Yeah. All right, so this seems to be what happened today. Again, to your point, maybe profit taking there at the end. It did come down rather rapidly. So it did kind of look like there was some kind of algorithmic trading taking place. And again, no other evidence anywhere else. And all of the other Magnificent Seven and the other market indices, they were all trading in all these different ways. I mean, Nvidia, of course, because of Oracle, was going nuts. And everybody, if people don't know, Oracle got some massive orders today, which jumped Oracle stock up 30%.
Yeah, about 30%. Yeah,
Yeah, and
which is
so
like a nearly $100 move, like a
yeah,
245. Like $80 up. Like went from like 245 to 335 or something like that. So
something like that,
really big
which
move.
gave the CEO of Oracle the largest number one day improvement in net worth, even beating out Elon in terms of a 1 day move.
Up to
Um,
this point, we're
to this
expecting.
point, to this point. And also putting him within shooting distance. This looks like it's maybe by the end of the day, Elon was not the richest man in the world.
Right, right. The possibilities.
So Larry Ellison might be, and he has been before. I think he's been the richest man in the world before. I'm not sure, but I think he might have been
Might have been.
several years ago, many years ago. And then the reason for this is because over the last few years, he's been able to accumulate his way back up to 47% of the ownership of Oracle.
Mhm.
He was down around 25%, but now he's around 47%. So that's pretty good. 47% of what now, as of today, is this close to being the Magnificent Nine,
Right. Almost $1 trillion company. Yes.
almost $1 trillion company. And of course, yeah,
Calm.
Broadcom, yes, is also either this close or just over a trillion. So we may now be looking at the Magnificent Nine as opposed to the Magnificent Seven. We're going to have a new name.
Right. Right. Well, it's gonna keep. I think a bunch more will keep crossing the line,
That's
especially
probably true.
even like I'm expecting next year. OpenAI, XAI, Anthropic could all become $1 trillion companies. Then they'd be private.
Yeah.
So then you have a bunch of private companies doing it. Yes.
And Anthropic was in the news also. Now, remember, folks, we're going to be talking a lot more about AI here because why? Because Tesla is an AI company, and because we've got an AI book coming out in about what is today? But we're going to hopefully, I guess I'm shooting. Maybe we can still get it out by October 15th. And Brian, of course, is one of the authors in there. Oh, well, no, you're the co-author. That's right.
Okay.
You're not just one of the authors.
Yeah.
You're the co-author
Right.
of the book. And Anthropic was big in the news today too because Microsoft decided to choose Anthropic for some of the tools in their basic suites, in their works, and in their various the what do you call the package, the business pack. It's got a
Right.
name, I forget.
Office.
Office, yeah, Microsoft. See, I'm not a Microsoft guy.
Yeah.
Yes, I've used Excel a lot,
Yeah.
and I've used Word a lot. I've written
Yeah.
books in Word, but I'm still not a Microsoft guy. Anyway, yes, Microsoft Office. So they went to Anthropic. So, gee,
Mhm.
wow.
Yep. Well, I think it's just they're not exclusive. They're showing they're not, even though they put so much money into OpenAI, they're not married to them, and they're willing to, work with others because it's more important for them to get it right and to deliver the value to their customers. Let them choose. Just like be certain things where it's like I don't know, picking search engines or picking something else. If people want the choice, then I will give the customers what they want.
All right. So, as everybody who watches my channel knows, for the last 2 days, I've been going, I can't wait to talk to Brian. I can't wait to work. I got to get Brian on the show because I wanted you to talk to me about two things. One of those is Megablock.
Mhm.
I did my best. I've really gone into as deep as I could possibly go. And what I mentioned, I think it was yesterday, is that we've got a new cell, we've got a new pack, we've got a new transformer that we're going to actually make. We've got a new method of putting the thing together so that it's plug and play. And then we've got the new capability at 8 hours, and I couldn't figure out which one of those was the most important, and I probably missed something. Talk to me, Brian.
So the three most important things that I see. So everything about Megablock is fixing problems that are actually hurting them in the field.
Ah,
So they have delivered 36 gigawatt hours of Megapacks 2XL, right? And they said, here's problems that we have doing this. Here's problems that we have getting it out. So transformers, there's a year long or more wait for transformers. We should make our own transformers. Elon said that like 3 years ago. There's a shortage of transformers, right? So they worked out that problem and now they're making their own transformers. Now they don't have to worry about the shortage of transformers. So that, and also the customers don't have to like wait a year for the transformers. And that also goes to the revenue recognition side, right? We were saying, okay, we got 10 gigawatt hours in the quarter. How come it wasn't more? It's because you can't count it, even though I made it maybe a year ago, until that other place puts it onto a cement pad, hooks it all up, gets it to the grid, and then turns it on, does not count, right? So being able to make your own transformers and then get even the backlog so that you can get them turned on, because until I have to help my customer get his transformer because I can't book it until he does. So that's a huge thing. And it can shorten the time from a year down to a month or something. They talked about doing something in 20 days, installing a gigawatt hour in 20 days. So
Right.
that isn't all the time. You still have to get it there. When did the 20 days start? And then other things. But the potential means that we had delays of a year, year and a half.
Yeah.
And now that can go down to what, 20 to 60 days, maybe 20 to 90 days. We'll
Yeah,
find.
you may still be waiting a year because there's a backlog. But once it gets there, once that my feeling is that when they said 20 days, that the trucks will line up,
Mhm.
they'll be coming to the site, and then in 20 days, those trucks will be able to drop off the units on their pads, uh, level them out,
Mhm.
hook them up with the only three connectors instead of 18 or whatever it used to be.
Right.
Make sure everything's working, and the transformers are already there. If it has to go to the grid, great. If it goes directly to the factory, great. However, all that's going to work, but they got 20 they can do it now in 20 days.
And also like a situation where there are no other blockages, where if I put my, um, so it's 20 megawatt hours per pack of four, right,
Hmm.
with the transformer. So I do 50 of those. That's my gigawatt hour,
Hmm.
right? So if that happened to be, say, for a massive AI data center,
Hmm.
where I need to install a gigawatt hour of that, in theory, that 20 days could work. So if I had to do that for Colossus 2,
Right.
I could do that in 20 days. And all of the other AI data centers, Oracle data centers, 57 data centers, OpenAI, even though like they may be competing, they would say, I'm going to buy the Megapacks so that I can get my AI data center built up sooner. Because every gigawatt of AI data center is worth 30, 40 billion dollars, right? Um, so buying 200 megapack threes, so that's
Hmm.
multiplying the
Yep.
mega blocks
Yep.
by four, 200 of those, say that's $1 million, it's $200 million. Oh, I'm giving $200 million to Elon, he's making $50 million in profit. They don't give a crap.
Right.
They're gonna make $30 billion on the AI data center. So all this AI data center build is gonna come to Tesla.
Okay, so I don't know if that was one or two of
So
your three.
the two and three is that the all the things about fast install. So the one transformers was slowing things down, um, and then the fast install. So the gigawatt hour, 20 days, multiple things related to the processes of just bringing them there and snapping together. Again, shorten that time. So all
Mhm.
involved in shortening the time to do it, simplify the installation to get that shorter time to build, and the speed of the competitive advantage to all these things.
Sure.
And then they made it more powerful and lighter. So there goes the battery cell. So they said that they went from 3.9 megawatt hours up to 5 megawatt hours for each one of those blocks, right? And but they made it lighter. Each one is lighter. So I think the old one, I don't know, maybe 100 tons or something, more than the standard weight of like 80 tons you can normally stick into a truck,
Truck.
right? So they got the weight down. So 25% more power or 30% more power in each one with cells still shaved off 10, 20% of the weight, right? So,
Yep.
so those are so things.
Okay. All right. And then, but talk to me about the one that I was I mean, I kind of understand it, but I want to make sure that I fully understand it. We had 2 hour units out there. And so 2 hour units are mostly for load balancing, taking care of peaker plant situations. Uh, you know, it's kind of just you think of 2 hours as more like backup. Um, and but then you had this competitor, I forget their name now, that Jeff Lutz was all involved in. That was a 4 hour pack. Now this one has gone to 8 hours. Now, what are the advantages here? Is this really like 8 times? Does this create something that's 8 times more valuable to the utility?
It serves different
I'm
use
sorry, four
cases.
times more. 4 times more. Yeah.
It creates more use cases. So
Okay.
the 2 hour thing is that I want to, I can still hold it for longer. I just discharge over 2 hours,
Mhm.
right? So um, it probably has certain electronics in order to extend out the time. It's, they don't have complete variability, you know, because it takes a certain amount of components to do it, right?
Mhm.
So, and then also there were use casing saying most of the time I want to discharge over 2 hours. I want to have so many packs. I'm going to take in all the solar from 9 a.m. until 5 p.m.
Mhm.
Sun goes down, and then I want discharge from 6 to 8 when most of the people are using their power, right? So that's because it's the what 80% of the time I want to do that, right?
Mhm.
Now they're saying 8 hours because I want to go overnight, right? I want to go from 9 p.m. to um, 5 a.m., 9 p.m. to 5 a.m., 8 hours, right? I want to run all night with this thing, right? And it just means different electronics in order to just spread that out. Just like different um, superchargers, mega chargers, in order to do 150 kilowatt hour, 50 kilowatts or a megawatt. There's just, you have to set it up to do what you want to do. It's not just like I can just, do some little switchy dial thing to make it happen, right? I can just, not infinitely variable because you're throwing around a lot of energy. So you just can't make it ultimately variable.
So if I'm sitting in a city, I've got 4,000 homes. I've got one of these facilities, and there's a volcanic eruption. The the sky is black. The sun can't get through it all. And because of that, the temperature drops. I don't know, or maybe we got the opposite situation. For some reason, the temperature goes up like crazy. People got their air conditioners running. They need electricity over a long period of time. It looks like it's going to be 2 or 3 days that they need the extra electricity that the existing grid cannot possibly support. Can you drip it out? Can you drizzle it out? It would seem to me you could say, okay, only turn on half of these.
Hmm.
Let everybody know this is a brownout. Don't use,
Hmm.
only use your air conditioners as much as necessary, whatever.
Yeah.
Can you drizzle it out?
I have power walls in my home,
Okay, good.
right? So 13.5 kilowatt hours per power wall. I got two of them. So I got
Yeah.
27 kilowatt hours,
Okay.
right? When I get the PG&E outage notice
Hmm.
saying that it's out,
Hmm.
right? If they say really bad outage, we're going to be out for 3 days,
Hmm.
right? Then I don't use my air conditioning. My
Okay.
air conditioning is electric as well,
Hmm.
right? So I stop using air conditioning or cooling or heating, right? I minimize the amount of lights I have, right? Because I'm saying I just want to keep my washing machine, my refrigerator going, my freezer going, and I want to keep be able to power my microwave. I will not use the TV. I will use only my laptop. So then I'm going to power conversation mode. So then conservation. So then I can make it out for 2 days, even 6 days, right? Because
Hmm.
I know I have to be ready to do that,
Got it. Got it.
right? So yes, you can trickle it out. You can just say I'm not going to stop using it. But for the 2 hour, 4 hour, 8 hour, it's more of like I've aligned it to this how I've set it up to how I'm going to use it without a lot of control, inconvenience,
So it'd be like maybe the other thing, it would be like if I need 100% of this power because I've got to really come to the rescue of whatever it is that I'm backing up, then it will be gone. And if I'm using 100%, it's gone in 2 hours.
right, right. And also like the reason I'm buying 1 hour, 2 hour, 4 hour, or 8 hour is because going in, I know for the next 10 years I use this thing, this is how I want to use it.
Got it.
They know I want to use it this way, so they pre get it designed to do that.
Got it. Yeah. Okay. Now then this is not a Tesla deal, but it's one of the other companies. We like to talk about these things, and it's going to be super important, I think, to our futures. We have this satellite deal that Tesla did, or not Tesla, that SpaceX
SpaceX
did.
did.
And so exactly what am I going to get when I turn on my T-Mobile device in a year or so?
So it won't change anything for the next year,
Okay,
in terms of that particular deal of EchoStar, the satellite company, selling their $17 billion of spectrum uh, to SpaceX.
okay,
Elon on the All-In Summit said it will take about 2 years to get the new chipsets
okay,
because it's a bandwidth that works great for satellite to cell phone, not satellite to dish. So not these existing Starlink
right,
high-speed internet. It's helping the um, satellite to cell phone, raining down 4G, 5G from the sky, 3G, 5G from the sky for that. But your phone normally for the service we just started rolling out the T-Mobile thing, we didn't have to change our phones. Old phones from 5 years ago, new phones from a year ago, all ready with the right chipset to receive this.
got it.
So, and that was, whatever bandwidth that they have. The new bandwidth will work for that purpose and will, even work better in many situations, but the chips weren't there yet. They didn't have it because all this direct to cell phone thing is new capabilities that they only thought of a few years ago. So
Mm,
no one made phones thinking, hey, hey, these five other bands could work.
yeah,
It's like
yeah,
I'm not using that right now.
yeah,
And then they only chose bands that I have I can reach, a cell tower from 10 miles away. It's sitting on a mountain 10 miles away, and I can get connection if I have a clear line of sight to that mountain,
got
right?
it.
And then they realized, hey, we could use that same bandwidth if we tune things up right, get things up, it can reach 300 miles away, right? So that's like from a really high mountain in near LA
Yeah,
reaching San Francisco, right? Normally you never bother because it's like you're getting like 10% of a bar,
right.
right? But if they design it right, which they did, and make the transmitter thing huge on the satellite, like 60 square meters or something, right? Then
Mhm.
hey, it can reach that distant thing. So that's what they're using existing bandwidth they're already using, but changing the size of the transmitter receiving antenna stuff so that it can reach the phone that doesn't change. But now they're saying we want to keep doing this stuff, and now we're going to use an even new bandwidth thing, which will work. We just have to make the new electronics, put them into new phones, which will take about 2 years to do.
And is there any reason in the world why Apple or any of the Google kinds of phones would not want to do this additional chip?
There's a bunch of people who are saying that, in theory that, hey, they are working with Global Star, a competitor, and then they um, could say they won't do it, right? But it's basically like I don't think that's going to happen because it's not like they can stop SpaceX. If I don't do the deal, you can't possibly make your phones and do it. Clearly, SpaceX can make the phones, right? So and make the chipsets. They can do a deal with Block company that makes the chipsets and do
Yeah.
it. And then you not putting into your phone, probably you can even make a little add-on device that would be in the
Yeah.
phone case or something else that you like wire up. So
Uh-huh.
then you won't even stop. Or you can make in Japan, they have a lot of mobile Wi-Fi things. So I have a little thing that's about the size of a phone, right? It's usually a bit thicker, right? Like a deck of cards,
Okay.
right? And then that lets me get cell phone connection that then distributes out as Wi-Fi.
Oh.
Very common device. I use it as a tourist all the time,
Uh,
right? So if um, Google or Apple said, I'm gonna put my foot down, I'm gonna make this, everyone's gonna make these deck of card things, you'll do a personal hotspot. You're not gonna stop anyone from doing this thing. It just makes it so they have to spend $100, $200, $50 to get this other device that'll do the hookup,
and
right?
I suppose there's always the threat that Elon would follow through on the applause at the All In Summit when people said when they asked him whether he would make his own phone.
Yeah. So we'll take the mystery away. They're gonna make their own phone.
Oh, okay. Right.
Okay, it's gonna happen. The negotiation and thing is, Apple, Google, Samsung, no one's under any illusion that they're not gonna make their own phone.
Okay.
It's gonna happen. But then there's also they will work with you. They're not gonna say, "Hey, I'm gonna try to put you out of business and stuff like that." They're strong. We're all big boys here, and we're gonna work together and provide services. And then we'll compete and we'll do stuff, right?
So is it going to be Tesla? Is it going to be SpaceX
Um,
or X?
I think it could be all of the above.
All of the above. Okay.
Because it's so many phones you need to make, so many things you need to do, um, and you know which company does which part of the service and blah blah
Yeah.
blah.
Yeah. Yeah.
But there's Android phones all over, right? So you can get them, and then you can license that. I don't think the licenses are that onerous. That's why
Mm,
all the Chinese companies,
mm,
license Android as a system
yeah.
and then
Yeah.
make their phones, right?
Yeah.
So, and again, it's not something which um, Google can restrict it. Hey, I don't want to keep you they like have 100 different companies making Android phones, right? And it's because it's not worth my trouble to make something else. I can just license your thing for the reasonable fee that you're charging.
Right. Right.
So it makes if blah 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 small company can make 50 million phones, SpaceX and Tesla got it handled.
Got it. Got it. Got it. All right. Okay. Let's talk to the general news then. The PPI, obviously, we already talked about it, couldn't hold the market's attention all day. I have spent a lot of time the last 2 days educating anybody who wanted to be educated on the fact that the PPI does not necessarily predict the CPI. Does not only does it not only does it not predict it like the next day, but it doesn't even predict it necessarily 5 months out or 6 months out. There have been a lot of studies that have shown it doesn't necessarily predict it. And there's a lot of reasons for that, but I've gone into them so extensively the last couple of days. Truflation has the CPI under 2%. It's been under 2% for a month. We know housing prices are coming down. We know energy, of course, which is not included in the core, energy prices are down. Um, what do you think is going to happen tomorrow? Are you believing this the CPI is going to be up again like it was last month, or do you think it will be maybe equal to predictions, or do you think maybe we get another beat like we did? I mean, today's beat was kind of massive. I mean, it wasn't even close.
Mhm. Yeah. With
Mr.
these,
Mr. Futurist, when
yeah, yeah, I know, but with these
12
numbers,
months,
it's
only 12 months, 12 hours you have to
right.
put there. Yeah.
I know, but with these numbers, they're so kind of, you know, um,
Yeah.
manipulated this or that. I would put my money on hitting the number, like
Okay.
whatever the analysts are thinking.
Right. Right.
I would say 50% of the time they're right, and then 25% they're off by point 0.1 on the up or the down, right? Or 20%, and then 5% it's way up or 5% way down. So it's a distribution around that because it's um, the analysts have enough handle on what they already know that when you release the number, you can't cook it too many ways, right? So I think that it's going to be. I would put my money on equal to expectations.
All right. And the Fed is going to cut by 25 or 50?
I would think 25. I think
25.
is there time to do 325s? I think that there
Yes.
might, yeah. So I think
Yes.
325s is my
325. Okay. And I did skip over one that we had added late in our discussion about what we're going to talk about. So we saw an Optimus video. There's been a massive amount of conversation about that little short video, and also other aspects of Optimus, including on the All-In Pod last night. Also, I think anyway, I mean, everybody's talking about where is Optimus? Um, uh, uh, where do you think Optimus is right now? When are we going to really see it going to work in the factory?
Um, well, one, I think it's already doing some little things in the factory, but you're talking about like a major amount of work in the factory, like what, 10,000, 20,000 bots in a factory, that something
Even
like that,
five, even the original five
5,000.
talked about. Yeah,
Right.
yeah.
So I would say that would be definitely like middle of next year.
Okay.
when I expect that to
Is
happen.
that the latest or is that like
That's
when?
my over and under
You're
kind of,
over. Okay.
yeah, my over under with that. And it could be plus minus 3 months,
Okay.
right? So getting to 5,000 there. And then they keep talking about a million by 2030. I think that that's a sandbag. I would say I would put my million at as my optimistic hat is 2027. My conservative probably is going to be 2028, and then my pessimistic will be 2029.
So if we go back to the rule that we were using earlier, and let's assume that the entire thing has been set back 6 months or so, which sounds like what you're suggesting, maybe more than 6 months. So then that would give us maybe 10,000 next year. And then if we 10 that, that would be 100,000 in 27.
Mhm.
And then that would be the million in 28. Is that kind of what you're thinking about?
So I think of this as like Tesla Cybercab unboxed.
Okay.
That when they get rolling, there will be virtually unlimited demand for
I see.
it, and they can deploy it, right?
Right.
When Tesla bot gets rolling, the hands will be great. The AI5 chip will be great. It will, they will can make huge numbers, and I believe they will all sell, or they will all
Yeah.
be used by
Yeah.
them,
Yeah. Yeah.
right? So, um, so then they just want to make sure it gets right. To me, once they have AI5 chips, and particularly AI6 chips, then the utility of a Tesla bot, even though doing the task is by the hand and all that kind of stuff, is kind of less important actually. That they don't you don't really need that because if I have it as a form factor, a user-friendly form factor for my AI5 chip, that's $5,000, $6,000. Elon talked about that. The
Mhm.
$20,000 cost, 25,000 cost, $5,000, $6,000 for the chip, including the memory, right? And then AI5 chip is supposed to be the best chip for running 250 billion parameter models, right? So the utility of it is the physical world, but also the digital world.
Right.
It's the best, it is indeed the best chip at 250 billion parameter models. And then they talked about like 9 times the compute of an AI4,
Right.
which I think was at 50 teraflops, something like that. So then the new one would be about 400 teraflops, so just shy of a petaflop, but using power more efficiently than a NVIDIA chip, right? So comparable, you know, in some ways, getting you to H100E kind of compute, it would be 20 times more powerful than the chip in your laptop or in your cell phone,
Mhm.
right?
Mhm.
So if I have that, then it would be something that would substantially increase the performance of my AI that I'm talking to, right? And also it makes it possible for me, for Tesla, to offer distributed AI inference everywhere.
Right.
So then if they can get to, so TSMC is going to be making their AI5 chips. If they get 10% of the 2 or 3 nanometer wafers, um, they have about, I think, 140,000 wafers. You'd have 50 to 100 chips per. If I look at, say, 10% of those chips, because they got wafers and chips made for that, then I'm looking at 14,000 wafers. Let's say it's times 100. I could do 1.4 million per month. So then that'd be 12 times that. If you look at 16 million chips,
Mhm.
AF4 chips, right? So limitation on the production of how many AI5 chips with in my Tesla bots and cars.
Mhm.
So, and I may need two per car, right? So
I
then
think you
if
said,
I'm
I thought it was four per car.
four per
I'm
car,
sorry. Yeah, four per car, two for the two for Optimus and four for the car, I think is what he said. Not last night, but a few days
a
ago.
few days ago.
Yeah.
Okay, so then if I can make a total of 14 million per year at 10%, and then 28 million per year at 20%,
Mhm.
right? Then if I need to make 5 million cars,
Mhm.
then I'm using 20 million of those chips. That would only leave 8 million chips left. I can make 4 million
Mm.
bots.
That'd be
Right.
enough.
Right. What?
That'd be enough.
That would be enough for a while. And
Wow.
then when I go to AI6,
Yeah.
that's made by Samsung,
Yeah.
they can go to 50, 80%, 100% of Samsung's production because they have a really tight thing, and Samsung's making 2 new factories and blah, blah, blah. So Samsung has less production than TSMC, but because I go to 5 to 10 times more, because I get potentially all of it,
Right.
then they can go to as much as 100 million chips per
Mm.
year, right?
Mm.
So then if I get to 10 million cars, 40 million chips go to the cars, and then um, I could make potentially 30 million bots, right? 30 million bots. So chip limited supply, those are the kind of numbers in the optimal case. If those are the only form factors I use, I could use other form factors
Right.
for using my chips,
Right.
right? And also that would mean if I have 2 chips in, then I'm getting close to a petaflop of compute for those things.
Yeah.
And so that also means then um, if you were to sell, let's do the AI6 numbers. So AI6 coming up by 2028. I'm doing 30 million bots, and they have another 10x, or let's do 5x. Yeah, 5x. So no, I'm going to go bullish. We're going to go 10x on the AI6 chip, right? So then that's 2 chips, each one 5 petaflops, going to 10 petaflops of compute,
Mhm.
right? And I'm making 30 million per year, right? So then that's more chips than an AI data center, right? Because we're at 1 million right now for AI data center of B200s and stuff like that. But these chips are weaker than B200, right? But then I would have more of them. I could have like 30 million, and I don't have to have a nuclear reactor or 5 nuclear reactors powering this thing. I just have the solar on everyone's home,
Right. Right.
right? So then I have the equivalent of um, like 10 Colossus data centers distributed around the United States with those 30 million chips, right? So, and then it can make money from them. It's like, okay, those
Right.
things just on the compute, not on the tasks of
Mhm.
like
Yeah.
I'm doing your laundry, doing whatever like that. It's just that 80% of the time I'm sending compute instructions to it and then making money off that. And it could be the compute of coding,
Mhm.
right? That we're doing a bunch of coding tasks and that kind of stuff. And they could sell that via X and XAI and that kind of stuff, right? So I think the commercial use case is sufficient just as a means of delivering chips, batteries, chips, and solar power to get out there among the world. And at 30 million times 10 petaflops, um, that's is that 300?
300 million.
No, but 300 exaflops, I think. I think
Okay.
that could run the exact numbers, or maybe 300,000 exaflops, but it'd be like 30 times the Colossus data center. Um, so, well, the Colossus data center is the gigawatt, right? So now I'm looking at power. Okay, 30 million times 3 kilowatts. Okay, we do the power side. 30 million times 3 kilowatts, right? So that's 900. Get my numbers right. 30 million. So then 30 million. So 300 gigawatts power, right? Did I get that right? 30 megawatts and then 3 million kilowatts. So that's giga, 30 giga, and then 10, 300, 300 gigawatts of power. So remember, Elon was saying, how do I get to 1 terawatt, right? So if you
Yeah.
can actually power up all this solar all over the world, right? Then if I do 100 million bots or 300 million bots, right? Then I have a terawatt of power, right?
Okay. Okay.
Roughly, right? So that all the power of the United States, right?
Right. Right.
So that is where his distributed AI data center stuff comes at massive, massive scale, which, based on the chip supply, you could get that by 2030. So, but
Yeah.
then we have some problems even with solar and everything else to power that up. But it's It's my bull case.
Yeah, yeah. So as a manufacturer, when I was listening to him last night, and he's explaining that he's going to have 24 actuators in each arm,
Hmm.
I
Yeah.
think.
Yeah.
You know,
I
and
think
Scott,
26. I think it was 26 is accurate.
and Scott Walter and I earlier were talking about, I think, eight
Mhm.
in each arm. So now it's 26 instead. And 26 times two, that's actually, 52
Right.
per each one. And that's just what's in the arms.
Yeah.
Now I don't think there's many more in the rest of the product, but that's still a lot. And guess who's going to be making those? I think that Tesla is going to be making those actuators. I mean, maybe they're going to have, some suppliers that are going to be making some of them, but you're talking about, if you're talking about 60 per bot and you're talking about a million, you're talking about 60 million actuators.
Yeah.
Okay.
Right.
That's a lot of actuators.
Right.
That's a lot of coils being wound.
Yep. Yeah. So that goes to the point that, maybe there are, when they say millions have got, spinning up supply chain,
Yeah.
making all new factories takes time,
Yeah. Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So, but, clearly they can push ahead as fast as possible to get the as many factories as possible
Right.
and
Right.
get this stuff built up. And they do have suppliers. It's not like all vertical them,
Right.
right?
Right.
They have suppliers.
Yes. Yes.
We know that. Yeah.
All right. Okay. Let's take a look at what actually has happened since so Tesla ended up only going up 0.24% today after all of that up and down and up and down. And in the after hours is up another 0.18. So
Mhm.
we're still at that old 348. 348. That just seems to be the number that we can't get away from,
Mhm.
even though we tried really hard today. Um, I'm of the opinion that we're really wound up now. We're really like spring loaded. Is that where you're seeing us?
Yes.
Yeah.
I think the squeezing, whether it's this week or next week or the week after, worst case October 2nd, October 3rd is when we don't totally break out. But I'm expecting FSD 14 should be enough to push us over the top.
Okay. All right. And then we've got the bonds, which had gone down. I'm sorry, the yields had gone down to all the way down to 4.03. I mean, we were really getting close to the 2.9, the 3.99. Anyway, but they popped up a little bit in the after hours. Again, I think people are kind of hedging their bet about tomorrow. So we're sitting at 4.045. I'm sorry, 4.0, yeah, 4.045. So that's still really, really close to a three handle.
Right.
And we've got the mortgages now into the low sixes. So I didn't look at it for tonight, but this morning it was like 626. So that's getting very close. I would love to see that get into the fives. I think that would really help real estate. Um, Oil barely up in the pre-market, 63.72. Any thoughts on oil?
Um, I think it's mostly going sideways. I don't see it, really going down much or really going up, but it's, disruptions can happen, but that's more random. I'm not predicting a disruption.
Yeah, natural gas is unchanged tonight. It's been sitting around $3, give or take 25, 30 cents for a long, long while. Okay, now here's the one. I heard today a very astute Morgan Stanley CEO or somebody, I forget who it was, being asked. I mean, it was a major, major player. Gold, he says, will be at 4,000 before we can blink. And we're at 36.77 now.
Hmm.
Larry Goldberg says it's going down. Randy Kirk says, nah, it's stretched as far as it could go. We need to clear some of this out. But we've got the Chinese, the Japanese, you and I have talked about it before, all these people buying it by the bucket load. So what are you thinking? Which way is gold? Gold has gone up like crazy and silver even more. Which way are these precious metals going to go?
I would say the long-term trends, a year, 2 years, 3 years, is up substantially, going to 5,000, say, in
5,000.
2 years. Yeah, but it's going to be,
Lumpy.
lumpy, like a bit volatile getting there. Um, Tom Lee said that he thinks Bitcoin can go to 200,000, right?
Right. By the end
So
of the year, right?
by the end of the year,
Yeah, yeah,
right?
right.
So even if he's half right and goes to 160,000, if Bitcoin's at 160,000, if interest rates are down and those kind of things, then there's a bunch of things happening where if the United States, revalues gold and all that kind of stuff,
Yeah.
then, we could head to really big numbers, like, a revalue of gold, a bunch of stuff happening with countries, China, Japan, and that kind of stuff. You know, a massive bull run to 8,000 is not, or 7,000, 8,000, not impossible over, say, 5 years, right? So I'm more of the feeling that a general uptrend long term appears to happen. It all goes to also the weakening of the dollar versus something that's more hard asset, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So yes, we're staying strong against other countries, other fiat, but we're weakening against all the real stuff. So that goes to my theory that, it's going in general upwards because of that.
Someday, maybe this weekend, you and I should do a special on scarcity theory.
Hmm.
I'll set it up a teeny bit. My theory starts with the 50s, which is what are my base years,
Hmm.
born in 48. So in the 50s, a house was only like supposed to be 25% of what you spent, maybe 30%. You might get a mortgage at 30%. It was a 20-year loan, and you did have to have 20% down. There was no fooling around.
Right.
Okay. But your food budget was 10% of your household budget, and your clothing budget was like 5 or 6%,
Hmm.
et cetera. You could go down the line. All these, your furniture cost a lot more as a percentage. Boy, buying a couch was a big deal. Now you go out and you buy a couch, you put on your credit card. All right. So all those things came down as a percentage of your income. And as a result, you had more money to bid up the price of a house, or how much of your mortgage, how much of your money you could put into a mortgage or rent. And so that's my theory about scarcity is, as we've shifted in terms of our wealth proposition, the reason housing is so expensive is because we have more money to bid up the price.
Right.
We're now going to go into this huge new world where AI is going to make us even wealthier. So there's going to be new things that are going to be scarce.
Right.
That's what I think sometime you and I should have a conversation about. Maybe it's gold, maybe it's Bitcoin, maybe it's fiat, maybe it's who knows what. So that's the kind of the point. And it will be covered in the book.
Yeah.
That's a chapter. So, maybe we'll talk about that over the weekend. All right, Brian, the equities for the weekend, for tomorrow rather. Right now, the equities are at unch, as Bradford Ferguson likes to say, they're unch. You might as well just call them unchanged because it's like 0.01, 0.00. Or
Mhm.
as I like to say, the S&P right now is up 0.00.
Mhm. Okay.
Okay. And Bitcoin's having its day again. It is actually at 114,000 right now, going up 26.46 today.
Mhm.
Any thoughts about any of that before we say adieu?
Um, no, I think, well, other than saying my call would be that, Tom Lee's probably pretty right that, we're gonna have a good Q4, for the markets and for Bitcoin. Is he fully right? I would say directionally, he's been pretty good at it, and he has more
Yeah.
research than I do. So I would say that, you know, I would think he's more likely to be right.
Well, so now, he doesn't do as more research than you do. He just has a team.
Right, his team.
Now you can call on your agents and Grok
Yeah,
to go out and do all that work for you. And so
exactly.
you should be just as good as Tom Lee.
Yes, I should. Yeah, I'm working on it. Working on it.
Working on it. Okay.
Yeah.
All right, Brian, as always, it's phenomenal to have you on. I'm glad I finally got some of my questions answered.
Mhm.
And to all of you out there, it's been great talking to you.